Smarties, today we are back at it chatting about the business side of educational therapy. We are sharing today how to know when to delegate in your business, sharing some personal anecdotes about what it's like to work through the mindset issues that come up when you are giving up control in your business. If you have recognized yourself in this conversation and you are realizing that you need to learn how to delegate, we are available for business coaching and strategy sessions. You can reach out to us at Rachel and Steph at learnsmarterpodcast.com. We each have one coaching slot available currently, and we would love to connect with you. Let's dig in.
You want to learn faster, but sometimes working harder is just not the answer. You have to learn smarter. The Educational Therapy Podcast.
Hi, Smarties. Welcome to episode 311 of Learn Smarter, the Educational Therapy Podcast. I'm Stephanie Pitts.
And I'm Rachel Kapp.
And today we're talking about business stuff, which is one of our favorite things to talk about.
We love talking about the business stuff. And I always will say this, and I know we hear from our audience a lot, oh, I wish I had my Rachel. I wish I had my Steph. There is nothing to me that has been more valuable in the business journey than like having the partnership with you.
Oh, for sure. Agreed.
To be able to have somebody who like, I will openly share KPIs, key performance indicators and numbers with you.
Yeah.
And we each know what our next goal is, and cheering each other on has been so wonderful. And also when one of us experiments with something in the business, the other one is very closely watching.
Oh, very closely watching. Yeah. And when one of us is struggling, it's always nice to...
It does feel like both of us are struggling with something. Right? Like we're both like, what about this? Maybe we iterate here. Like, have you thought about this? And it's just so nice to be able to have that sort of collaboration with someone, which is, I think, why we both enjoy the business coaching so much.
We do enjoy the business coaching. And I think, this is making me think about how we're going back to our alma mater of Cal State Northridge. And we are going to speak at a panel for the upcoming graduating cohort of educational therapy. And it just makes me think back to, I don't remember who came to ours, but I know someone was there. So that was 2015.
Yep.
Okay. 9 years later, could I have predicted that you and I would be sitting there feeling this way about business stuff and feeling comfortable and wanting to help other clinicians and create more of a community where you're not on an island if you do want to start a business or you are in a business and, all of those things. I think it's just pat on the back, job well done.
I'm looking forward to that conversation because I hope that we're able to communicate with them how possible it is. And you and I could not have dreamed up what would happen when we were in their position.
I never, ever thought.
You were not interested in public speaking at all.
Yeah, but also even the practice. I just didn't imagine that it would be possible. And you, in a lot of ways, pushed me to go, why are you being so narrow-minded about this? And then I was like, oh, yeah, okay, I can do this. It was just more fear.
The fear is not to be ignored. And there is the fear, especially in starting to think about this conversation of when we first started to delegate responsibilities and tasks in the business. It was rough. You were all about it.
I was first up to experiment with this because I did not want any part of it. I couldn't do it all. But now that it's years later, you have to.
If you have ambition to grow, you can't create more time. It's about making decisions about what is a priority of your time. But let's dig into this conversation.
Yeah.
And just sort of know that like Steph's and I approach to this is just because you can't do something does not mean you should be the one doing it. So all the stuff we delegate.
I'm just laughing because that's me in a nutshell. Because
totally agree.
I made the website originally. I was doing all the things originally. And that's because I could, but does not mean that I should.
Yeah. It's not worth our time anymore.
No, it's not.
But it made sense at the beginning. We both built I think I built 2 different websites and they were not particularly impressive, but they were a good landing page. Anyway.
Yeah.
just because you can does not mean you should. And I'm constantly reminding you of that. But Steph was really the first one to experiment with delegation. So let's talk about how we knew it was time.
Yeah. Okay.
We have a whole bunch of reasons.
A whole bunch of reasons. Okay. Number one, overwhelm.
Complete.
That's the first sign that you need some help.
Yeah. The second is you haven't been paid in a while. It surprised me when I started the business coaching is all these outstanding bills that our coaching clients would have, and they were waiting to be paid. And just because we're in a helping profession does not mean we can sacrifice our own financial health and well-being because we're not working for free, at least not yet.
No, I mean, you have bills to pay as well and all of that. So
of course,
number three is you really start to hate or loathe doing things and you avoid them at all costs until the last second. This could be anything from billing, which a lot of people loathe doing, or anything within the business that you find yourself
you're like, ugh, I have to do that again.
Yeah, it's feeling awful.
Another way to know that it might be time to delegate is you're not having fun. I think a lot of us really got into working for ourselves because we wanted more control and we wanted more freedom, but we also wanted to have a little bit more fun. And you're also not able to do the things you thought you'd be able to do when you started working for yourself. So if those things that were a priority to you are not happening because you're spending too much time working, then that is a real sign that it might be time to explore delegating certain tasks.
Yeah. And listen, this is important to note that not everyone has to delegate all the same things, right? There are some things that are easier than others for you. And those are the things to really take a hard look at so that if it's easy and doesn't take long, then maybe you don't start with that.
Well, and it's such a good point. Like, we could even have a conversation with Katrina on here. Katrina is our director of operations in both practices. She's behind the scenes on the podcast and everything. And she will share with both of us, hey, I do this for Steph. Do you want me to do it for you? And sometimes it's like a no, because I'm happy to do it. It doesn't take too much time for me. Whereas for you, it's something that's a drain.
Oh, yeah.
So we ask different things of her.
The next one is you're too in the business and don't have time to work on the business. And I think this is one of those things that we learned pretty early on, that is the language around how you really understand what needs to happen in the business. So when we say you're in the business, meaning you are
working with clients,
doing the client work and all of that,
writing notes.
Yeah. And so then you were not having any time to streamline things for the business to make it easier or whatever it looks like.
Working on the business can look like networking or billing or putting time and resources into the website or answering emails, whatever, that sort of stuff, scheduling, all that sort of stuff is working on the business.
Yeah.
Another way you can know is you're just working too much.
Yeah.
You've hit a wall.
Yeah, totally. The next way that you might realize it's time to start delegating is you're wasting a lot of time trying to make decisions about how to go about things.
I will say that's not me at all. That's you.
Yeah, sometimes for sure. Also, I do it for the both of us. So it evens out.
Totally. Let's be clear. Like, I'm coming up with the idea, then asking Steph to figure out how we're going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I always joke, like, we're on episode 311 of the podcast.
Yeah.
And I have not once asked to see how the episode gets on people's phones. Like, how does it get out there? I have no idea. I've never looked behind the scenes of how these episodes get distributed.
No part of you would like it.
I'm just saying, it's so funny to me that in over 5 years of podcasting, I've never once been curious.
Yeah. And that was one of the things that I originally started doing, right? I originally was the one that was putting it up and putting it out and getting it to your phone. And that is definitely something that got delegated to Katrina. And I'm very grateful that I don't have to be in the weeds doing that every week because it's a time suck. So glad that she's there to do it for you all and do it for us.
And you figured it out. Then you taught her, and now it's her turn. Yeah.
Yeah. So then this goes with the next one. You spend a lot of time researching. Now, here's the thing. Some people are researchers and some people aren't. And so you might be a researcher and then you're really in the weeds, too much time researching. I think I've gotten much better about how much time I spend researching now. But I was definitely at the beginning, I was watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to do things and whatnot. But you know what? Now I know how to do it. So I'm not going to say it wasn't worth anything. But if you are spending a lot of time trying to teach yourself how to do things and could be time better used elsewhere, that is important to note. And what's the last one, Rach?
You're not able to meet deadlines.
Or you're not making deadlines on purpose.
You're avoiding deadlines altogether. And you're having a lot of executive functioning failures. Maybe you're having calendaring failures, you're missing emails, all that sort of stuff where you don't have bandwidth. And so being really honest about where your bandwidth cup is and about what percentage is going to work, what percentage is going to your personal life, and what do you want that to look like. And here's the question that I wanted to sort of close up this conversation with. Steph, when we first hired help, did you feel like you could afford it?
No.
And I didn't feel like I could afford it either.
I was very worried about it.
Sometimes I'm still worried about it. Steph and I are much more comfortable now talking about what projects need to get delegated in order to sort of move forward with stuff. But what would you tell yourself about the spending of the money? Because there's two resources here to consider. There's time. And then there's the financial, there's money. So what would you say about that now?
I would say to myself, it really is worth it for your time and your energy and being able to do what you actually want to do with the practice. So take the leap of faith. I'm glad I did.
I'm so glad we delegated. And the other thing that I'm so glad that we both invested in early on when we really needed it, and we probably should have done it sooner, but we didn't know what we didn't know, was the business coaching. Business coaching by design, when you work with us, will propel you forward. You will figure out what the work that you like to do is. You will figure out how to streamline things. You will figure out how to get clients you like, and you will figure out how to delegate. And all of these skills will propel your business forward years. And that is the value.
Yeah, when we've done Learn Smarter Pro, that's absolutely what the takeaways have been when people have said, you just saved me a year, at least a year.
Yeah. And the same with our business coaching clients. Learn Smarter Pro is probably not coming back in 2024. Learn Smarter Pro is our group coaching program. So if you're interested in working with us on the business side of things, really the only way to do that is with business coaching.
Yeah, one-on-one coaching.
So you can reach out to us at Rachel and Steph at learnsmarterpodcast.com and we'll get you going with that.
Have a great week, Smarties.
Have a great week.